Hiya, and welcome to the James Oliver Guitar Channel, and this is part 18 of vinyl albums that I love / bands and artists that inspire me. Now, last time, I either said it was video 16 or 17, I can't remember, but I made a mistake somewhere, and this is definitely video 18. So here we go then, 20 more records, and this is the first one. This is Jimmy Vaughan. The Pleasure Is All Mine. This is a free LP set that has just come out on the Last Music label, and it's basically the best of his albums, blues, ballads and other favourites that he made for the Proper Records label. There's some fabulous blues on this. Luann Barton is singing on it. I love the way Jimmy plays, you know, in that Johnny Guitar Watson sort of style, Gatemouth Brown, guitar slim, vintage blues guitar sound. And I think the cover's great. It's a free LP set, as you can see, and it's definitely worth checking out. So that's choice number one, Jimmy Vaughan, and we've shown Jimmy before, and there's no doubt we'll show him again. Okay, this is Johnny Cash. This is Johnny Cash's first UK release on the London label. This is Johnny Cash sings the songs that made him famous. As you can see, all the Sun albums of the day were brought out on the Purple London label and in this country, like the Carl Perkins Dance album, etc. And this has got tracks on it like Ballad of a Teenage Queen, Walk the Line, Train of Love, Big River. Luther Perkins on guitar. Of course, I've spoke a lot about Luther as a player and his guitar style on the channel, so there's a little bit of Johnny Cash. Okay, a little bit more country. This is Albert Lee's second release, and I think it's just called Albert Lee, because I believe his first release was called Hiding, which I showed a couple of weeks ago, and there's some cracking tracks on this. Sweet Little Lisa, of course, you know, that's one of the classic all-time country rock and roll guitar solos. Real Wild Child, of course, a Jerry Lee Lewis track. One Way Rider. It was produced by Rodney Crowell, and he's on the front there, Albert, with his Blackguard Telecaster. Doesn't get any better than that for me, that's for sure. And now a real classic album by one of my all-time favourites. This is, of course, Neil Young with Harvest. This is every track on this is a winner. Out on the Weekend, Art of Gold, Words, Needle and the Damage is Done, Old Man. You know, it is one of the best albums ever put onto a vinyl record. Fabulous album by one of my all-time favourite acts. So, you know, I've shown Neil Young before, I've shown Greendale and Weld, etc. But I had to get this one in because it's just such a classic. Iconic record, you know. Harvest by Neil Young. A little bit of folk now. This is Burt Yanch, his self-titled album on the Transatlantic record label. There's tracks on this like Needle of Death, Alice in Wonderland, Angie, classic finger picking, Strolling Down the Highway, Smoky River. This album inspired a lot of people, you know, like Jimmy Page, etc. It's quite an iconic cover too. So yeah, this is Burt Yanch's first solo record. Brilliant album. There's actually quite a few classic albums in here today and less obscure ones. The songs are Leonard Cohen. This is the American edition on the Columbia label. And there's some wonderful songs like Suzanne, Sisters of Mercy is on this record. Teachers. Leonard Cohen is a poet. Quite, you know, relaxed stuff. Much in the same vein as Dylan, he is a real wordsmith. So this is the songs of Leonard Cohen. And the back of the cover too is super cool. American press. I have got a UK British press here somewhere, but I couldn't find it, so I wanted to show the record on this video, so I picked that one. Up next, a bit of blues. Hound Dog Taylor and the House Rockers on the Sonnet label. Hound Dog Taylor, of course, slide guitar player. He had 6 fingers, believe it or not. If you Google Hound Dog Taylor's hands, you'll see what I mean. There he is with his Tysko guitar. Never had a bass player. You had a guy on the drums and a Telecaster player, 3-piece. Tracks on this record like She's Gone, Walking on the Ceiling, Taylor's Rock, Wild About You Baby, 44 Blues. I mean, it's very much in the vein of Elmore James. I think if Elmore James lived a little bit longer, I think this is how he may have sounded. Absolute classic. And also check out his album Beware of the Dog as well. So that's Hound Dog Taylor. Talked about this band on the last video, and we're going to talk about them on this video. This is sort of a double whammy. This is Carl Perkins with NRBQ, one of my favourite bands and one of my favourite rockabilly singers. And All Mama's Children's on this, Flatfoot Floozy's on this, Rip It Up is on this, Boppin' the Blues. So it's sort of like, you know, you've got the NRBQ backing up Carl Perkins, playing some of Carl's classics, plus a couple of their own. This is on the CBS label, and it's called Boppin' the Blues, and it's Carl Perkins and NRBQ, the New Rhythm and Blues Quartet. This is an early lineup of the band, but still Terry Adams is on keyboards on this. And guitar player Steve Ferguson, who left the band in 1970, he was replaced by Big Al Anderson, of course, who to me is the classic NRBQ guitar player. I'd like to have heard Big Al on this album, but nevertheless, Carl Perkins and NRBQ for rock and roll and rockabilly just doesn't get any better. Now then, Brinsley Schwartz, which is of course Nick Lowe's first band. Well, first, you know, big band on the United Artists label, yeah. Absolutely love Brinsley Schwartz. This is a Silver Pistol album. Tracks on, you know, like Dry Land, Silver Pistol, of course, Unknown Number, Juju Man, of course, which Dave Edmunds later went on to record on his Get It album. Rockin' Chair is on this. And of course Nick Lowe on guitar, Bob Andrews on keyboards, Bill Rankin on drums, Ian Gorm on guitar. Excellent. Check out Brinsley Schwartz if you haven't heard them. Nick Lowe, what a songwriter. And I also love his bass playing. And I was watching some stuff of him the other week, and he was playing bass with a Metal Thumb pick, which I thought was quite cool. Now here's some sort of Americana-ish record. This is Buckingham and Nicks, of course. Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. This is the album they made on the Polydor label before they joined Fleetwood Mac. It's got the classic Lindsey Buckingham guitar playing, finger picking, the brilliant voice of Stevie Nicks. And this does sound like Fleetwood Mac, even though it's not Fleetwood Mac. So that's Buckingham and Nicks on the Polydor label. I haven't listened to this for a long time, so I can't remember the standout tracks on this, but I'll have a little look at the label now, and I'll have a look at the ones I can remember that I liked. But I wanted to pull it out because it's something different, you know, you don't often see. Crying in the Night, Crystal, Long Distance Winner. Don't Let Me Down Again was my favourite on this. And of course Frozen Love. And a side note to this record, I bought it and it was warped. So I unwarped it. You know, as well as talking about the vinyl and stuff, I do like to talk about, you know, the labels and the presses and stuff. Something for everybody in the videos then, see, isn't it? And we got some more blues up next. I know it's mainly blues, rock and roll, rockabilly, country, and a bit of classic rock. But nevertheless, here it comes. This is the Paul Butlerfield Blues Band's first album. Self-titled, of course, Mike Bloomfield. He was still playing his Telecaster on this album. You've got Born in Chicago, Shake Your Money Maker, which I've done a guitar cover of on the channel. We've got My Mojo Working. A brilliant version of Mystery Train, of course. Paul Butlerfield plays Mystery Train on the Last Waltz, doesn't he? I think he does. The Elmore James song, Look Over Yonder's Wall, is on this. Really great album. Elvin Bishop on rhythm guitar. Sam Lay on drums. Jerome Arnold on bass. Mark, I can't pronounce his second name, on organ. And of course Paul Butlerfield, wonderful harmonica player. So there's the Butlerfield Blues Band's first self-titled album. Up next, a bit of Muddy Waters. Electric Mud. Of course, Howlin' Wolf made a record like this as well. But this is the Electric Mud album. I Just Want to Make Love to You, Hoochie Coochie Man, I'm a Man, Same Thing. And it's psychedelic Muddy Waters. Very much, you know, of that time when he brought this out. Psychedelia was in, and Muddy done a wonderful job of producing it with Electric Mud. This is a chess press of Electric Mud. I love the chess label. Sue, Chess, Sun. You know, they're my favourite labels. There's the lovely chess label there, as you can see. And that's Electric Mud. I can't remember what the Howlin' Wolf one is called, but it's got a white cover like Electric Mud, and it says on the front of it, you know, Howlin' Wolf didn't like his electric guitar when he first had it either, or something like that it says. Up next, Dr. Feelgood, live album, Stupidity. Talking about you, 20 yards behind, off with the city, I'm a man, walking the dog, she does it right. Roxette, checking up on my baby. Back in the Night, classic, Wilco, Lee Brillo, Big Figure, John B. Sparks. This is one of my favourite ever live albums. Dr. Feelgood, Stupidity. Classic Man Band album now. This is Man live at the Paget Rooms in Penarth. There's only 3 tracks on this. Many are called Before Get Up, Deke's Daughter of the Fireplace, and H Shamble, which is a jam. Again, this is my favourite Man lineup with Mickey, Deke, Martin Ace, and Terry Williams on drums. The band at their absolute best, playing their progressive, psychedelic rock, you know, with hints of country. Deke was a big, you know, rock and roll fan. So there's hints of rock and roll in this record as well. It's a real mixed bag of stuff, and if you listen to it, you know, and you know, enjoy it, and you'll pick out all them influences. There's a Zappa influence, a Beefheart influence. You know, I can't say a bad word about the Man Band, and this is it, live at the Paget Rooms. I could do a video showing all the Man albums like I did with the Beefheart. I might do that, actually. Bob Dylan. This is the Bringing It All Back Home album. I always say that my favourites are Highway 61 and Love and Theft, but I've been listening to this one a lot lately, and this has sort of creeped into being a favourite, you know, with Subterranean Homesick Blues on it, She Belongs to Me, Maggie's Farm, Mr. Tambourine Man, It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. I mean, how can one bloke write so many amazing songs? You know, most people will write a couple of good songs in their career, but then you get people like Dylan who is just, it just oozes out of them. And I mean, all his 60s albums are classics, all his 70s albums are classics. I can't really comment on a lot of the 80s ones, because I never listened to enough to say. You know, I've got some of them, I think. Well, I've got a box set of CDs, and it's every Dylan album in there, up until that Christmas album he made a few years ago. So yeah, there's Dylan's Bringing It All Back Home. Maybe I'll investigate some of the 80s albums, and when I do part 19, there may be a Bob Dylan album on here. Hank Williams, on stage, recorded live. Of course, Hank and his Drifting Cowboys, with his wife Audrey, and Grant Turner announcing. I showed a record signed by Grant Turner a few weeks back on this series, but there's stuff on here like Lost Highway, Lovesick Blues, Blues Come Around, I'm Telling You, Joe Clark. I mean, there's another guy, a real, you know, country music icon and a great songwriter, and he died really young, and I mean, to leave that amount of work, you know, a body of work like that is just, to me, unbelievable, really. So that's Hank Williams, on stage, recorded live, and this is on the MGM label. This is a nice little compilation album I like. It's called The Country Blues, and it does exactly what it says on the tin. It's got country blues on it. Blind Lemon Jefferson's Matchbox Blues. There's Lonnie Johnson on here with Careless Love. Leroy Carr, of course, he played with Scrapper Blackwell, didn't he? Sleepy John Estes is on here, Special Agent. Big Bill, The Key to the Highway. There's a nice early Book of White recording on here as well. Fixing to Die, Robert Johnson's on here, Preaching Blues. Peg Leg Howl. I first found out about him through a Rory Gallagher song, Peg Leg Howl. He's mentioned it on one of the tracks off the Rory Gallagher album, Fall to Finish, but I can't remember what song it is off the top of my head. Blind Willie Johnson's on here. Really cool 60s compilation for country blues. Haunting stuff, that's for sure. Something completely off the track to what that is. Focus live at the Rainbow. Here it is, you know, this is the band Focus. I am a fan of Jan Ackerman, and I think this band are brilliant. Absolutely nuts. My favourite, of course, is Hocus Pocus with all the yodeling. If you haven't heard that, check that one out. Sylvia, of course. And this one has got a reprise of Hocus Pocus, which I love. And it's got Focus 3 on it as well, and Focus 2. And it's a live album from the 70s, recorded at the Rainbow. And it's the progressive rock band Focus. And you didn't see that one coming, I don't reckon. There's just 2 records to show now. This is Thin Lizzy, Shades of a Blue Orphanage. Now, I wanted to show an early Thin Lizzy album with Eric Bell on guitar. Because to me, Eric Bell is an underrated guitar player. And I mean, there's stuff on here like The Rise and Demise of Funky. Nom Dix Tubes is on here. Sarah. Call the Police, Shades of a Blue Orphanage. But this is one of the albums that Eric Bell played on. Eric Bell's an underrated guitar player, in my opinion. Of course, he's the guy that come up with our Whiskey in the Jar riff and stuff. But this is a lesser known Lizzy album. I'd like to show in the one with the car on, you know, the self-titled Thin Lizzy album. But I haven't got that one, and this is the only one I had on with Eric Bell, so I thought I'd show this. Really just to mention Eric Bell. And his solo in the rocker is brilliant as well. And album number 20, B.B. King at Cooks County Jail. From the, you know, this is a classic. As much as Live as a Regal is a classic, this Cooks County Jail is also a classic. Every Day I Have the Blues, How Blue Can We Get, Sweet 16, The Thrill Is Gone. And this was from 1971, you know. Johnny Cash was playing in prisons. B.B. King was playing in prisons. This is on the Probe label. And it's just fabulous blues, you know. B.B. King, what a voice, what an entertainer, what a guitar player. The full package, in my opinion. So there we have it. There's 20 more albums from the Vinyl Albums That Inspire Me series. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you next time for the next video. Cheers.